This will be 2:20 for 5 minutes. Well, I had left work for that day and the police came and everybody wanted to know what happened. And I told everybody I knew I would have to leave. I wanted to leave the premises. And so I talked to the police and sat in my office while the police did what they did. They spoke to David and they spoke to me and then they spoke to David and then they came back to me and asked me a few more questions. And then it was time to leave to go home. Okay. So I said, okay, I don't want to cut you off. That's fine, but we'll get to that. And you're jumping, okay, ahead. Okay. And we've got to go through it step by step. I understand. So you don't have any knowledge that Ben actually saw the incident, correct? I have a feeling, I think he probably didn't. Okay. Because he probably would have come up and said, are you okay? Or something as you're walking back into the office, correct? Correct. Okay. And you get past Mandy and you have this conversation and then well, let's go get him or talk to him. And what do you tell Mandy? I told Mandy, leave him alone, stay away from him. And then Mandy said, then you do what you've always told me to do, call the police. Okay, so Mandy tells you to call the police, yes. And then do you walk into your office? I was in the office. I sat down in my chair for a few minutes. Okay, and how long are you sitting in your chair? A half hour. Okay, are you in any pain at this point? Mild pain. And where's the pain? Right knee. Kind of hard to picture, but on a scale from 1 being a very mild pain and 10 being excruciating, what do you think your right knee was feeling? 3. Okay, and can you describe the pain for me? Same kind of pain you'd feel if somebody had thrown a rock at you or if you had been lightly hit. If you were on a bicycle and you fell over on a bicycle, not too bad of an accident, knocked your knee on a rock, something like that. Okay, well, let's go back there for a minute. As the vehicle hit your right leg, where about on your right leg does the vehicle hit? And you can show me and I'll try to describe it. Right where the joint is. So your outer leg just below the kneecap, just to the right. Yeah, just to the right of my kneecap. Okay, kind of. On the outer area, kind of, if you stopped right there. And let the record reflect, I guess he's describing right here, just in the middle to just below the kneecap on the right side of your right side of his leg, the outer part. Okay. And you go sit down in your office. Uh-huh. And how long is it till you call the police? 10 minutes. Okay, so Mandy says, call the police. You go sit down for a few minutes. Well, Mandy wanted to defend me and go after him, but I spent 10 minutes convincing him that he works for me and we're always non-confrontational here and leave him alone. And then Mandy said, then do what you've told me to do, call the police. Okay. And I said, okay, that would keep him in the office with me. So you sit down. Is Mandy in the office with you? Yes. Okay. And how do you call the police? On the telephone. Okay. But do you dial 911 or no? I think I called information and asked for the number. I didn't want sirens, so I called the regular police station. Okay. And do you recall actually calling the operator and saying, can I have the number? I don't recall that. Okay, do you know what police station you called? North Hollywood. Okay, and I assume you get like the front dispatch desk or something? Yeah, somebody who showed concern. Okay, that was the right place to call. Male or female? I don't recall. And what do you tell the police on the phone? That I owned a business in town, gave them the address, and told them the fellow that owned the business next door came at me with a car, and that's always been the expression that I've used, came at me with a car. I was trying to minimize the hysteria value of the whole thing. So they asked, what do you mean? And I told them an abbreviated story. And they asked, do you need an ambulance? I remember that. I said no, and it did not take very long before the police came. Okay, and how long after the phone call do you think the police came? It was approximately 20 minutes, I think. And during that 20 minutes, what are you doing? Just sitting in your office? I stayed put. Okay, is Mandy in the office with you? Yes, I think so. I think so. Are you having any conversation with Mandy at this point? Yes. And what are you discussing with Mandy? Mandy was being protective of me, and he wanted to go defend me and go after David. Okay, and what did you tell him? I told him, we've already called the police. If you go after David, they will take you to jail. David has already tried to incite you to touch him, and that's why I'm telling you to stay here as previously. Okay. Did you have any discussion with any of your other employees? No. Okay. Approximately 20 minutes later, the police show up. Is that correct? That's about right. Okay. Is it a squad car? Yes, it was a regular police car. One squad car? Yes. Okay. How many police? Two. Okay. And do you see them pull up? No. Okay. How are you notified the police are there? They walked into our office. Okay. So this is, again, speculation on your part. They probably asked one of your employees and they said, oh, he's back there or something. As the police asked them, what? Well, where I was? Yes. Oh, I don't know. That never occurred to me. That's the office is the first place that people would stop when they drive in. Okay, because there's a sign that says office with a big arrow.